So we got a bunch of things going on. I got Marco Rubio speaking at the G7. And coming back from there, you can hear him just a little bit right there. I have got, of course, Schumer in full-on humiliation and a little bit of a cough, so no cigar today. It's just terrible, I tell you. Oh, and Flederman von Riest. I'll tell you that story coming up. It's Tony Katz today. I'm Tony Katz. Let's get the radio show beginning.
Touch those topics. It was a really good engagement, and obviously there'll be some follow-up, and it sort of sets up for the leaders meeting later on this year, and we hope that'll be equally productive. But we felt really good about the statement, worked hard on it. I think it reflects our points on a number of topics. And I would just say the one takeaway, you're going to ask me questions about things that are going on in different bilateral relationships and so forth. But I think what's important, and something I said at the outset, which everybody agreed with, is that we're not going to allow the things we disagree on, and we'll disagree on things, to keep us from working closely on the things we agree on. And there are a lot of those. And hopefully the statement reflects that, and our actions will reflect that. And so we feel really good about it. The other announcement, and I think that's already reflected in the president's statements, there was what we felt was a very positive and productive engagement yesterday with President Putin and Special Envoy Witkoff. Obviously, he is on his way back. He should be back, and hopefully we'll convene this weekend. We'll examine the Russian position more closely and determine, the president will then determine what the next steps are. Suffice it to say, I think there is reason to be cautiously optimistic. But by the same token, we continue to recognize this is a difficult and complex situation. It will not be easy. It will not be simple. But we certainly feel like we're at least some steps closer to ending this war and bringing peace. But it's still a long journey. It's a journey.
That's Marco Rubio. He's the Secretary of State. You've seen pictures. He is there in Canada, G7 meeting there, world leaders, and discussing what it is that they discussed. And certainly this peace deal is top of mind. Certainly this peace deal is a very, very big deal indeed, if you can get it. You've got Trump saying, hey, we want Russia to do this. We're glad they're thinking about it, but they've got Ukrainian troops surrounded, and they got to let these Ukrainian troops live. There's a don't hurt these people. It'll be an easier way to get to peace. So spare their lives. Now, is that actually the situation? I can't 100% say that. Tony Katz today. What's going on, people? Good to be with you. Find everything over at TonyKatz.com. That's what you should do immediately, if not sooner. I want to get into the Russian peace deal. If Secretary Rubio is going to keep talking about it, I'll share it. But I think the bigger story is Chuck Schumer. I'll get to that in a second, but first.
Oftentimes, you will have to work with, I'm not talking about President Putin in particular, I'm talking about generally, you will have to work with people you don't like in foreign policy. And oftentimes you will have disagreements with people you like. Sometimes you will have to figure out how to work together with nations that are not aligned with you on most issues. And in some other cases, you may find yourself unaligned on an issue with a nation that you work with very closely on a bunch of other things. That's not just now true today. That has been true throughout the history of mankind, and certainly the relations between nation states. So I think it's important. I get there's this temptation to cover foreign policy the way we cover domestic policy and the way we cover other things in our society. But foreign policy is about nation states pursuing what they have interpreted to be in their national interest. And balancing that is what the art of diplomacy and the work of foreign policy is all about. And so we need to sort of be mature and open-eyed and realistic without losing our idealism, without losing, what we hope the world will look like and want to shape it and be a part of. But by the same token, we have to make pragmatic decisions every single day. And that's not true today. That's always been true. Always.
Do you have any top lines from Mr. Witkoff? This was a late meeting. It went hours long. Is there anything that he shared? And then when you do examine the Russian position, that the comments by President Putin were quite convoluted and tough to decipher. I wonder if you think that he's playing for time.
Well, I think you're not going to, this is not something that's going to play out in press conferences. As I stand at a press conference. But this is, these, again, I go back to the point I just made. When you want, if you think about the most recent example of ceasefire negotiations, which was what happened in Gaza and with Israel and so forth, yeah, there were newspaper and there were articles and there was news stories about it, but ultimately you found out what the results were after the fact. And in the meantime, you saw public statements from different sides in regards to what they were going to do. I think this will be no different. So certainly we're not going to make our foreign policy decisions on the basis of what a leader simply says at a press conference, or somebody puts up on a social media post because there's some blogger close to the Kremlin or something like that. And likewise, I don't think that they're going to do that either. So I would just say that this is going to play out the way things of this nature and caliber have traditionally and normally play out. And that is with the leaders of the countries involved speaking, not in front of the cameras, not in front of the media, but in these negotiations that happen and in these talks that happen.
Translation, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're sure as hell going to try. I mean, that's what he's saying. And that is the right answer. You have no idea what it's going to be like in the room. You have no idea what it is that Vladimir Putin or his emissaries are going to be like. You don't know what they're going to ask for. You don't know how insane it's going to get. Okay, completely fine. And I would think it's irrational to think that everything's going to go picture perfect. Which is why, and I'll get to the Chuck Schumer stuff, I promise, but the Secretary of State is speaking live, and I want to keep on this topic. What the questions that are asked by the political left, the questions that are asked by some of the media is ridiculous, as in, will you share with us this specificity? No, it's not because I won't share. It's because there's no way to know. It's also because that's not how a negotiation works. One of the things that we see, one of the things that we know, is that the people who ask the questions are very rarely the people who have done things. This is true, for example, of the university set. Here are these college professors that are treated like gods. They're private parking spaces. They teach 2 classes. They do 2 hours of office hours, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, what a hard week that I've had." And it's yes, professor, no, professor, right away, professor, and please, professor, and it's the power and everything else. And then they sit in the faculty lounge and they smoke pipes, but not in the good, cool way. And they say, well, we should do this. And they'll put out a paper saying we should do this. And then some politico says, well, this paper says we should do this. And then it doesn't work because, of course, these people have never done anything and have never actually measured their thoughts against real world activities. So what happens next? They do the thing, or people do the thing, or they put out a policy that says you have to do the thing. The thing doesn't work, and then they sit again in their offices, right, in their faculty lounges, smoking their pipe that they don't actually smoke, and they go, "Huh, that didn't work. I guess the people did it wrong. We should give them more advice." They never once look at themselves because they don't have a way to look at themselves. They don't have any thought process. They may be the problem because they have no life experience. But they feel. Oh, they have got all the feels in their feely spots. And by the way, am I allowed to say feely spots on radio? Can I get a ruling on whether or not I could say feely spot? No? Yes? Maybe? I shouldn't, but I can, but I shouldn't. Is that what that's what I thought. I'm going to go with that. I can, but I shouldn't. These people have no minds and they have no experience. And then they speak to people who have experience, and people who have experience look at them and go, "You are a dope." And then they say, "Oh my gosh, look how crude he is. Look how he can't say this and he can't say with specificity that." And then they bring on their so-called experts onto cable news and say, "Oh, you should be able to say this and that, and here's how you do that." These people. I don't know what it is that Russia's going to ask for. I don't know what it is that Russia finds important. But when we talk about Russian needs, there are a couple: land and money. And one way or another, that's getting discussed. Back to the Secretary of State.
Negotiations. So here's what I want to encourage everybody to do. Bifurcate 2 things, okay? The ceasefire and the conditions for everybody to stop shooting at each other. What will it take to get everybody to stop shooting at each other? And then moving to a negotiating table on settling the war with finality. 2 separate processes. Process number 1 is, what do we need from both sides in order to stop the shooting and the fighting, so that you can get to a negotiating table? That's the second phase. As part of that second phase, there will obviously be, every country in the world has a right to security, has a right to defend itself, has a right to protect its territory. That will have to be part of that conversation. And it will have to be something that involves not simply the views of the United States, but other countries that are involved in it. I've repeated this over and over again. The European Union has imposed significant sanctions on the Russian Federation and on individuals inside of Russia. So they will have to be consulted and they'll have to be engaged in this process and so forth. So let's not predetermine or start putting everything ahead of itself here. The process of what long-term security means for Ukraine, that will be something that Ukraine will obviously have to agree with, and that will have to be worked through as part of that second phase. But we can't get to the second phase till we get through the first phase. We think it's very difficult to negotiate lasting peace and security in the midst of a all-out war. And so we have to try to lower that so that it makes it possible to move to phase 2 of this.
Secretary, the statement that you issued a little while ago also notes that the G7 discussed ways to impose costs on Russia should that become necessary, to include caps on oil prices, additional support for Ukraine using seized sovereign Russian assets. Was there, but it said it discussed them, you didn't agree on them. Is there any agreement within the G7 on these particular measures, just what they should be in what order and what might trigger them? And why did you discuss them if you're so cautiously optimistic?
Well, first of all, they were raised because the Europeans have their own set of sanctions and new ones they would like to impose. And certainly the United States is not a member of the EU. We don't have a vote at the EU. And so whatever they determine and decide to do, we can't control it.
Different people with different interests. It's as if they are shocked to find that there's gambling in this establishment. Good Lord. So there was Secretary of State Marco Rubio. If he's got more, I'll bring it to you. In the meantime, DOGE has to keep cutting. The question is, are they really running into this judicial buzzsaw that can keep them from doing their job, which is really the job of government and this administration? Less is more. And Chuck Schumer, when I say he's not a wartime consigliere, I mean every bit of it. But now the defeat is just for everyone to see. I've got that story coming up. Keep it up. I'm Tony Katz. Or I should say keep it here. You can keep it up too. This is Tony Katz Today. Right now, well, listen, I said for whatever reason, I said keep it up. Keep it up. You're doing great. See, but it could go the other way, producer Landy. You'd be like, keep it up. Go on. Keep it up. All right. I will turn this radio show right around. So guys, good to see you. Good to be here. Can I just say, like, I'm not immune to everything that's going on. Weird day to be on radio on Bongino's last day. He's going to the FBI. Godspeed, Dan. Seriously. Good stuff. Go get him. That is what I wrote him. I didn't email him, just to go get him. He doesn't need to hear from me. He's hearing from a lot of people today. But a lot of people talking about that. Understandable, man. Leave that whole career for the FBI. I'm curious as to how long he's going to do it. If he did it for a month or he does it for 5 years, I don't know. Right. Either way, fine by me. But good on him. That's all going on. There's a story. Where's this from? Joy Reid. Oh, that's so good. I'm going to share that momentarily. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just share that in a moment. I'm not even going to tell you right now. You don't even get to know right now. You don't need to know right now. What you need to know, that's happening. That's happening in real time. Oh, yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be very, very good. Very excited. I'm super excited. Let me see if I can figure out. And this is the Chuck Schumer piece. I want that. Oh, I got to take that out of there. Okay. I'll remove that. And then there's this right here. Look at us. It's like we're using a computer for the first time. This is the Chuck Schumer talk there. So I'll have that. And then I want to add This right here. Okay. Now I got it. Yeah, but if I do it now, then you'll know what it is. So I have to wait. Got to tease everybody through it. So you've got questions. I've got answers. Put those in the chat or right there. And we'll go forward. I will answer your questions if they're in there. Andrew Langer is going to join us. We're going to be talking about DOGE. And oh, look at that. Can you hear that? No, you can hear that, but I don't think the people can hear that. Oh, tough guy, Mark Kelly, the senator. Good gosh. Oh, I've got two things for you now. Oh, it's a good day. It's a good day. Can I tell you for the record that it feels like a Friday? Like I'm never like that. Today, just let's end it early and have a nap. I don't know if anybody ever feels like that. Just like today is that moment. I don't know what it is. Feel good. Maybe it's because I'm wearing the flannel. This is Sarah, Digital Sarah's favorite flannel. She's like, that works for you, Tony. And I'm like, I look good as a lumberjack. She goes, you look sensational as a lumberjack. I'm like, I don't know if that's true. And she's like, trust me, I understand what the people want, and they want lumberjack Tony. And I'm like, that could be my OnlyFans. And she's like, you just shut your mouth. I said, you don't care about me at all. She said, just wear the flannel and keep quiet. I said, that's what the OnlyFans is going to be for. And she said, ooh. That was pretty good. Social media giveth and social media taketh away, usually taking away your career. Today, it gives us much joy. Let me give you the twofer here. Let's start with number one. Number one is Senator Mark Kelly being like super angry about you and Tesla and you liking Tesla and things about Tesla. And now he's going to tell you about Tesla.
Hey, folks, Mark Kelly here in Washington, driving to work for the last time in my Tesla. When I bought this thing, I didn't think it was going to become a political issue. Every time I get in this car in the last 60 days or so, it reminds me of just how much damage Elon Musk and Donald Trump is doing to our country.
These people are going to make me buy a Tesla. And I say this as a guy who locally in my area is sponsored by Ford. Andy Moore Ford is a local automotive dealership. Great people. I'm a full disclosure guy. I will always tell you which way the wind blows. I love my Fords. I love what it does. These people are like, okay, I'm sold. I will finally buy a Tesla. I never wanted one a day in my life. Why not? It's really a question of how good the deals are. Because I gotta get a Cybertruck or the Plaid, right? Like these are my options. I don't even know what Plaid is. I'm just told you gotta get the Plaid, Tony. I'm like, sure. I'm already wearing it. Get the Plaid. Get it. Like, okay. But you're really going to get rid of your car because you can't control your emotions? It's the silliest thing in the world. And that's only one of the Twitter things. That actually wasn't the top one that I found today. The top one. Can I laugh anymore like a happy child? And this is this right here is our very, very good friend Joy Reid. That's right. Our dear sweet friend Joy Reid.
Okay, people, move along. There's nothing to see here.
Maybe. Joy Reid, according to the sources, And I'll say for the record, I don't know if the sources are right, but why not? Exclusive. It says exclusive. Tom Bevan had posted this, Real Clear Politics. Dumped host Joy Reid set to scream bloody murder over being axed from MSNBC. Quote, she knows where the bodies are buried and is getting set to torch the network to the ground. I am so excited. Somebody pour me a drink already. What? We're going to get to watch Joy Reid go scorched earth. Finally, a show she does actually worth watching. Oh, please. Oh, please start with how terrible Rachel Maddow is and how desperate Chris Hayes is to be Rachel Maddow. Please start with that. I'm begging you to start with that. Please, I just there's so many things we want to know. So many. Now, I don't know if I should believe her. I don't know if I actually believe Joy Reid on anything, but that is great. You get fired and your answer is burn it all down. First things first. Do you need matches? If you need matches or lighters, I have over there, right over there, I have an array of lighters. I got fancy, expensive lighters. I got cheapo lighters you could actually throw into the bonfire and let it go. Boom. I don't care. I'll get another one. What is it that you need? You need lumber? You need wood? We have got firewood all over this place. I literally will buy every copy of the Washington Post so you have some kindling. Oh, if you light it on fire, Joy Reid, I could not be more happy or excited. But I'm telling you right now, if there ain't video, the whole thing didn't happen. No. I need to see your face when you're setting your dear, wonderful colleagues on fire. And not just Rashida Jones, the former head of MSNBC who left. No. I want to hear what you think about Nicole Wallace. I want to hear what you think about Elie Mystal. Oh, yes, I do. I want Joy Reid's full take on Mika Brzezinski. And I want to hear Joy Reid say, you know how Trump described Mika? That wasn't far off. I want that more than I want oxygen. Please, Lord, let me see it. Now, do I believe her? Why would I believe anything Joy Reid said now? I didn't believe her before. I don't understand why it would all of a sudden be like, well, we should really ponder this for a while. It's Joy Reid. Joy Reid is actually an old Latin term for full of crap. There's no reason to believe Joy Reid about anything. That said, I can't wait to see it. I am so just thrilled. And this was Twitter like 1-2. And this app, by the way, is free. Free. Well, I do pay the $8. I do. I pay the $8. I want to be supportive. If you're going to be about free speech, you're going to let people talk. Even if I don't like them, I'm in. I like it. Speaking of Musk, as we talk about Twitter and Tesla, is DOGE actually doing its job? Andrew Langer, who fills in here with the American Conservative Union, doing policy work over there. We will break it down. Is there more to do, and when do we see results? I'm Tony Katz. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Still waiting to come back to the radio show. Look at that. That's Andrew Langer. What are you doing, kid?
Listen, having fun, man.
I was looking at a post from Tom Bevan of Real Clear Politics that Joy Reid is going to scream bloody murder and burn all her old colleagues to the ground. And I've been trying to figure out which bourbon would best go with this.
Well, obviously something smoky, right? It's got to be
nice. Going with the burning all down. I would then moved right to a Scotch from the Lowlands. What I came up with was any.
There you go. Yes.
Any.
Yes, the cheapest brown liquor you can find. I was just talking about your eat, drink, smoke efforts with Adam Thierer from the R Street Institute. Name checked you. Yes.
God bless.
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
That's all anyone could ask for.
Well,
so you ready? We got about a minute, and then we're gonna talk a little DOGE. And,
sounds good.
Get a super wonk dumb and to understand this continuing resolution and why it doesn't have really enough cuts to count and where the real anger is. Although there are some cuts, this is one of those things that I don't get. Of all the reasons I'm mad at Thomas Massey, this is actually not it.
Well, right, sure, yes. There are many good reasons to be angry, I suppose. Well, we'll get to this. I don't want to jinx it too early.
Well, let's jinx away.
All right. Well, no, I mean, listen, I think once again we're all waiting for this. I'm shocked that we don't have the reconciliation process but I guess that's where the real stuff is supposed to happen.
All right, we're about to start. What is your official title?
Director of the Center for Regulatory Freedom at CPAC or the CPAC Foundation, among other things, but that's probably the best one.
I'm just going to director at CPAC Foundation. I can't spell that much.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right there. There he goes. I want cuts, and I want a whole bunch of cuts. I had gotten the rap that somehow I wasn't full on MAGA. All right. I'm probably not. What I am is full on conservative. And when we talk about draining the swamp, guys, I've been wanting to drain the swamp my entire life. Now, I didn't call it Drain the Swamp. That's a great name for it. But taking a look at the largesse of government, taking a look at the abuse that large government creates because it isn't interested in providing for the people, it's interested in providing for the institutions. And as we've discussed, that's the issue. Does an institution provide value for the people, or does it provide value to ensure that the institution survives? This is the question that we should be asking. And if it's about the institution, cut/destroy. There's no need for that institution. Tony Katz today. Great to be with you. Andrew Langer joins us right now. You hear him
everybody
filling in right here on this program. He is a director of policy at the CPAC Foundation, a radio guy in his own right. And, you follow what, for example, groups like DOGE are doing, or at least attempting to do, really,
sure.
where policy wonks like yourself, and I don't say that disparagingly, it's a fact is a fact is a fact. You are a wonky geek.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I revel in that. I mean, this is, getting down into the weeds when it comes to these policy issues, because at the end of the day, that's what's important, right? It's where the rubber hits the road. I mean, elections, obviously, politics is interesting, and politics as a process is interesting. But at the end of the day, if we believe that elections matter, what that means is we're talking about the policies that are enacted and the changes that need to be made.
So it brings us to what DOGE has been doing, and a lot of pushback from the courts where somehow an unelected judge has decided that they know better how the president is allowed to act than the president himself. But let's start with what it is that DOGE has kind of put forward here. Where do we think that as a concept, DOGE is actually doing what it is we want it to do?
Well, to an extent. I mean, let's start with particularizing the problem, which Howard Lutnick really underscored with CBS just yesterday, which is this issue of the fact that in terms of federal government spending, we've never had more revenues than we have had even after the Trump tax cuts. $5 trillion a year in revenues coming into the federal coffers, yet we're spending $7 trillion a year. And that $2 trillion is simply not sustainable. So something needs to happen there. But then we get into the issue of the size and scope of the rules that are out there and how that adds to the federal budget, how that increases things. Joe Biden added almost $2 trillion in annual regulatory costs to the federal budget. And it's not a one-to-one thing, by the way. It just happens that they come out that way. But that's the reflection of the expansion of government power in each individual everyday life. And something needs to be done there. So, I had thought that DOGE was going to focus on the latter, on the regulatory side of things. That gets into the efficiency to an extent. And we can get into how the two do play together in terms of, as you said, the institution serving itself instead of the people. But the reality is there are very serious structural problems that we have to deal with in terms of our government, in terms of the size of our government, in terms of what that government spends. That's what DOGE is up to.
Talking to Andrew Langer, director doing policy work at the CPAC Foundation. It's the best I can do, man.
I understand. It's fine. Center for Regulatory Freedom at the CPAC Foundation.
Yeah, like Center for Regulatory Freedom it's just very hard for me.
Literally the conversation I had with somebody, one of my colleagues yesterday. But yeah, yes.
Which is why DOGE works so well. But right. The question before us was this idea of whether or not as a concept this works, because what we're getting now are we're able to see that we're noticing things and we're flagging things, and here's an issue and there's a problem, but we then see this continuing resolution. Right. And you soon realize that the continuing resolution, while it does have some cuts, non-military spending 8% below 2024 levels, it doesn't have the cuts that we're hearing about in the larger sense for DOGE. Why do these two things not come together?
Well, that's where it gets into the political process and the problems of the political process here. And one of the problems we have is that we should have returned many, many years ago to this concept of regular order, right? We haven't had a real legitimate budget and budgetary process in a very long time. And so it gets less left to these continuing resolutions, these omnibus bills, these cromnibus bills that are just huge and bloated and fraught with peril in terms of how they get done. Whereas the way we used to do it, which is the way that we should do it, are these individual appropriations processes, given a couple of different agencies or issue areas where they come together and they go through the budget committee hearings and folks talk about them. But the problem with the process as it stands now is, you get these omnibus bills that are so massive that you can gild the tree, as it were, or you don't get to the root of the problem, which is the issue of spending. That's why the reconciliation process is important, and it's important in terms of being able to cut spending, but also to deal with these other issues. There's a great guy named Matt Jensen who's at the America First Policy Institute, and he's talking about the aforementioned fiscal impacts, the budgetary impacts of regulation, the mandates and how they increase government spending, like the idea of mandating that the DOD buy green jet fuel from renewable resources, which is both strategically stupid, but also much, much more expensive than it might otherwise need to be. These are things that need to change. Let me just say this, Tony, real quick. One of my concerns, I'm a deliberative guy. You can sometimes hear it when I'm on the air as I'm sort of going through things and I'm sort of noodling through. I don't like doing things quickly. I don't like doing things in a crisis. I think we get bad policy as a result of it. I think the way, at least if I were doing it, I would set the goals, right? If I'm the president, I set the goals. I want X cut from the agency. I want X personnel cut from the agency. And you give the agency heads time to sort of figure out exactly where they're going to go. Now, that being said, I understand the urgency and the need for urgency now As someone who tends to be more deliberative, I think things should be done a little bit more deliberately, because there are all kinds of unintended consequences that happen.
Right. This is the chainsaw scalpel conversation. You saw Trump actually bring that up the other day, talking to Andrew Langer. Let's see if I got it right. The Center for Regulatory Reform at the CPAC Foundation.
Close enough. Close enough for government work. Center for Regulatory Freedom.
But
again, nobody.
freedom,
But
it's
again,
all the
this is
same.
the conversation that came up yesterday. What does regulatory freedom mean? Anyway, this is so just right now. It's fine. Director Center for Regulatory Reform is fine.
I just call you Andrew. It's what I
which
do.
is also
I need a wonk. I need a wonk. I got a guy.
Right. Exactly. That was my title. I was just in the UK last week. I should have been known as Langer the Wonk.
Well, you were, just not to your face.
Yes.
Now we take a look going forward, because Chuck Schumer got beat very badly on this continuing resolution, and he stood firm for about half a day before he realized it was over. And I have been making the argument that Hakeem Jeffries in the House, the leader of the Democrats in the House, Chuck Schumer, leader of the Democrats in the Senate, neither one of these men is a wartime consigliere. Or conciliary, you're not supposed to pronounce
whatever.
It, as I'm told. They can't do this. The problem is, I don't think there's anybody else who can. So in the midst of their madness, which I'm going to be discussing a little bit later, is there an opportunity, go full Rahm Emanuel, never let a crisis go to waste, because it allows you to do things you wouldn't normally do? Is there an opportunity for Republicans to say, well, if we're going to actually cut, let's not be people who waste time. Let us indeed chainsaw and not scalpel, and then we can bring things back. But this is our opportunity to make things disappear.
And that's exactly why they're doing it now, as a way of getting it done before the kind of accretion comes in, before the kind of morass sets in. And they got to do it. From what I understand, every day Donald Trump comes into work and he says, we've got X number of days left, 1 day less than we had yesterday. What are we getting done here? And that's important, right? You have to go and do these things and make the fundamental changes. I warn folks only because, of the unintended consequences, right? Which is to say, if you want to get out the entrenched bureaucrats who have no sympathy for reform, or who are in fact calling. In fact, this was a conversation that I had with a policy colleague last week. This idea of a new constituency of the bureaucracy that is driving the not just driving, but stifling the internal reform process, and are able to flex incredible amounts of political muscle, and even outside of the government employee union area. It's important to come in and do these things and get them done. My concern is you don't want to create disincentives for good people who have it in mind to serve the public, to go into government service. And I hesitate to say that if you're just cutting people because they've only been in government for 9 months, you're not cutting folks who have been in for 25 years, who it may be
That's a solid point.
time to go.
Before I let you go, part of the conversation of the cuts you talk about, going how deep one goes, the right kind of people to cut. There is the question of what are they completely and totally avoiding. Like, for example, you'll hear the left always talk about they want to cut Medicare, they want to cut Medicaid, they want to cut Social Security. And in the end, these things should all be on the table, no matter how politically fraught they are, because we've got real problems. As you see it, what is the world that they have not discussed at all that they should be discussing immediately?
Well, here's the thing. It comes down to the relationship between the expansion of the regulatory state and the government spending itself. There has to be an analysis of how the increased mandates that came in before the Supreme Court's seminal decision overturning the Chevron doctrine. How was regulation expanded, and then how does that play into what regulations can we cut? And as a result of cutting those regulations, what bureaucrats who are in charge of serving those regulations can we cut as well, right? That's what it gets down to. And the problem, of course, is is that it's never, very rarely is it what we call major rules that cost the American economy $100 million a year or more. There are some of those that are out there, but it's all of these small little things that sort of all add up. It starts with this. President Trump in his first term had a really great executive order on regulatory transparency and accountability. He has instituted that again. We need to be engaging in this top-down and, frankly, some bottom-up exercise as to making sure that things are being done in a transparent.
Oh no, you don't have a specific spot. Like, man, I really wish they'd start taking a saw to this. This is
listen. You want to? Okay. You want to know? You want to know? We do not know how much land the federal government owns. We need to.
Bureau of Land Management is number one.
Well, no, but understand. Well, listen, Tony, when you've got counties out west that are the size of Vermont and New Hampshire combined that are 93% owned by the federal government, and the federal government, the left has made it clear they want to own 30% of the land or control 30% of the land in the United States. A, there's the cost that is associated with land management that's out there. B, we don't know what land we own. And C, maybe if we start selling off some of these public lands out west, that money can go back into the coffers of the federal government and maybe start rebating the tax or reducing the tax burden.
You're not going to get a disagreement from me. I think that is a great pick. And for people who don't understand, well, what is the cost of land management? The answer is check out the wildfires in Florida, not Florida, in California, and you'll get your answer. Andrew Langer, stay right there. I appreciate you being with us. More is coming up. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Land management. We left the radio show there, Andrew. Land management's a good one. That is
I've been calling for an inventory of federal lands for a very long time. There's a reason why they don't want us to know how much land that they own. And it has huge impacts on state and local governments. The tax, the payments in lieu of taxes never equal what the counties, municipalities might get from, property taxes. So there's a whole bunch of things that can happen there.
No, that was a good pick. Andrew Langer, by the way, did you see that I finally got it right? The Center for
there you go. Thank you very much for that, Tony. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Only on the 7th try.
Hey, listen, I know it's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but I should be enough of a professional to be able to handle it. By the way, can I get a ruling from you?
Sure.
Should I be wearing flannel?
Yeah, why not? Now I got to put my glasses on. I don't wear my glasses. Yeah, of course you should be wearing flannel. I mean, it would be better served if you were, on a station in Colorado, but or Montana. But is there a flannel culture in Indiana and the other places where you are syndicated?
First of all, just for the record, I'm worldwide.
Yes.
Secondly, I don't know if there's a flannel. I don't know what flannel culture is. I'm pretty sure that was racist.
Yes. Well, I was going to say I'm pretty sure it's anti Portland.
Oh, wait. If I in any way resemble Portland, I'm never wearing. I will burn.
Your beard is far too neat, Tony. Your beard is far too neat for you to resemble anywhere.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yes. Very, very, very nice.
That's it. Andrew Langer, go live your life, man. Thanks,
guys. See you later.
Yes. Boom. Andrew Langer, heck of a guy and a fantastic salsa dancer. I don't know if he salsa dances at all or in any way. Appreciate him. By the way, really good poll. BLM, not Black Lives Matter, Bureau of Land Management. That's a very, very good poll because it is nuts. You take a look. I mean, that was a great analysis about counties as big as Vermont, New Hampshire combined. You're like, wait, what? It's true. It is true. But I did not know that there is not a specific number. We don't have a number as to how many acres we own. Or would they do it in hectares? No, it'd be acres. That's weird, right? Like the only reason that is purposeful. So somebody else doesn't know, so they don't ask, hey, why do you own so much land? What we do know is they own a lot of land. I'm going to say it again. Solid poll right there. Well done. Well played. Yeah, so I have this, I have a cough. It's a dry cough. I am convinced it is allergies. That's what it is. Because it happens. It's always the same thing. Boom. Right there. Little tickle. It happens like twice a year. When I talk about it on air, what you people, that's right. I said you people. What you people say is, oh, you got like a tickle in your chest, you got a little thing right there. Oh, cancer. Every time I talk to yous, that was full Jersey. I end up getting cancer. Kidding. I don't think that's it. But I was fine for a while, and then it came back this week. So that's why I don't have the cigar in hand. Like, let's just hold off, just a bit, just a touch, just a moment, and we'll see. We'll see what it turns out to be. Let's see. I've got this from Sheldon Whitehouse that I want to share with you, and we'll do that. Oh, Sheldon Whitehouse is a treat. Sheldon Whitehouse is what, the expression, get off my lawn? If you picture the guy screaming at you, get off my lawn, that's Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Democrat from Rhode Island. That's the guy you've been picturing this whole time. I'm ready there, producer Landon. Okay, we got 10 seconds. Should we count it down together? 5, 9, 2, 6, 8, 11, 40. It's not how you do it. Back to it. So Dr. Oz right now, that's right, Mehmet Oz, who lost the Senate race to John Fetterman. He was the nominee for President Trump to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. And he is speaking to Sheldon Whitehouse, the senator from Rhode Island, the nasty guy, the guy who belonged to the country club that didn't allow black people. That was Sheldon Whitehouse, right? Well, if you want to know who Ted Knight's character in Caddyshack was modeled after, Sheldon Whitehouse. That's Sheldon Whitehouse. Tony Katz today, and he's there. Confirmation hearing of Dr. Mehmet Oz to run Medicare and Medicaid services, and he says this.
So I'm going to be on you like a ferret to get this fixed. It is totally unfair. Bacchus Hospital is probably a 25-minute drive into Connecticut from Westerly Hospital in Rhode Island. So
I'm going to stop you right there. I am a guy who likes a good turn of phrase. Oh, you bet I do. You bet I do. This?
I'm going to be on you like a ferret to get this fixed. It is totally.
I think that's Dr. Oz laughing. What does that even mean? I'm going to be on you like a ferret? That's an Urban Dictionary thing, right? Like nobody's ever said that. No one's ever used that expression. Well, it's a little comic relief, I guess. I guess Dr. Oz is going to get the gig. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. I don't know what it is. He's a treat. I do know what this is, ladies and gentlemen. This is Flederman von Reist right here. So I am proud to say I am now a brand ambassador for Flederman von Reist. So this is a watch company based out of Indiana. This is one of the many editions that they do. This is the Hanoverian in cornflower blue. They build their watches right here in Indiana. The movement is depending on the watch, sometimes a Seiko movement, sometimes a Miyota automatic movement. They do have a line of manual mechanical watches as well. and everything is assembled right here, and pays a bit of homage to Indiana's heritage and history. And actually, I wonder if I can show you the back here. See the corn? That's, yeah. Crossroads of America, the whole thing. Very, very happy to be a part of this, and to be sharing this not only with the people where I live in Indiana, but all across the country. Something made in America, as sourced as possible with U.S. Parts. Flederman Von Riest. It's actually Von Riest, R-I-E-S-T-E. VonRiest.com. You can use promo code CATZ, K-A-T-Z, and get a discount on all the watches they have. Yes, they have a chronograph. I don't know if they even have it for sale on the site yet. I have one. I'll be showing that off. The Munchner, the Einheit, different watches for different purposes. Some great colors as well. Really, really terrific people, family, business, brothers, and a whole great story of history, of freedom, of doing things this Midwest way. And I'm thrilled. I'm overjoyed to be an ambassador for them, myself, and NASCAR champ Chase Briscoe. Don't ask how that came together. It's just there. So Von Riest is what you want to do. They're R-I-E-S-T-E. That is what you want to do. VonRiest.com is where you go and get your watch, and thrilled and dig the Cornflower Blue. It also comes in a Hoosier Cardinal red. So for your IU people, it's there if you're living in Indiana, but you don't have to. It's fantastic. I'm glad you guys are here. We're going to take a quick break as the radio show is in break, and we'll be back to it in just a moment. So keep it here. Guys, welcome back. Tony Katz, good to be with you. The show is called Tony Katz Today. Normally with cigar in hand, but some little cough, which is not cancer. That's all I'm saying. And for people asking about the watch, Flederman von Reist, Fledderman, and it's vonreist.com. And thrilled to be working with them and doing this and really having a ball with it. We're gonna be able to talk about a very, very cool company here in Indiana, American made. Be supportive. Honestly, could not ask for more. Could not ask for more on that. Meanwhile, we will get into the shutdown vote. If Democrats want to lose their minds, I'm cool. I'm cool with this. Like, I'm down. I'm down for watching this whole train wreck take place. I'd be overjoyed to see their tears. Let me see if they're actually debating this right now, because it'd be worth the laugh. Oh, they are. Oh, they are. Let's do that.
Happened. Perhaps it's worth thinking through it once more, because I'll admit it can get easy to lose track of all that has happened over the last few months and just how many times House Republicans.
Patty Murray right there. She's very dynamic, is what it is. What type of mic am I using? This is an Electro Voice RE27 is what I used. Rush used the RE20. His was, of course, golden. I believe his was the RE20. And I used the 27 because this is the mics used by my home station, and I wanted to have as much similarity in tone to them as possible. I don't know if this is going to be my microphone going forward, but I certainly do like it and appreciate it. A replacement is due. Let's do a radio show.
Our committee to write and pass serious bipartisan spending bills for this current fiscal year. It was no easy feat. We had less resources at our disposal to make use of, and we had even more challenges to address. But we managed to work together, Senator Collins and I and our committee members, and we cleared all of but one of our bills overwhelmingly in committee, and many of those bills cleared on unanimous votes. Then come November, after the election, I was pushing very hard to get our funding bills done and wrapped up by the end of the year. My Democratic colleagues and even many of my Republican colleagues wanted to get that done. But Speaker Johnson and Trump chose to kick the can down the road. They chose to. Trump reportedly wanted to make sure his fingerprints were on our spending bills for this fiscal year. And the speaker not only wanted to, of course, please Trump, he was worried about how a messy funding fight might complicate his path to becoming speaker again.
So you mean there are politics involved in Washington, D.C., Senator Murray? This is your great revelation there as you speak to the Senate, that there were that something may have been done for political purposes? Dear Lord. Dear Lord. By the way, this is what clouds sound like, right? When cloud cover comes.
Just walked away and blew that deal up at the last minute. Why? I'll tell you. Because the richest man in the world sent a bunch of completely inaccurate tweets. And instead of saying, you know what? Actually, Elon, you have no clue what you're talking about. These are programs that help my constituents. House Republicans said, let's put this guy in charge.
All I know is I listen to her and I just feel very, very sad. Tony Katz today. What are you doing? 833 got Tony, 833-468-8669, 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the show. They're having this debate about whether or not they're going to vote for this continuing resolution. Allow me to be clear. Allow me to be as clear as I can. They're going to vote for this. Of course they are. Schumer said as much. He said after standing tall, he's like, I'm going to vote for this. Let us note exactly how this went. This was Chuck Schumer stating very, very clearly that all these wascally Republicans, I'm assuming he refers to them as wascally, are terrible and awful. This continuing resolution is just cutting this and cutting that, and it's a threat to society, and it's a threat to civilization, and we simply cannot have it. We are not gonna have this spending cut. It's 8% below 2024 levels on non-military spending. But you understand that overall, Chuck Schumer and Democrats are opposed to spending, allegedly. Yet it was just a couple of years ago when a guy named Barack Obama thought cutting might be a good idea.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of, even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at the time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as
I just want to say for the record that I'd vote for that guy. I'd vote for a guy who wanted to cut waste and spending and said it was your money and you should be able to keep your money. Was that really Barack Obama? Hold on a second. Let me go back and see a photo. Let me go see if I can. Oh, yeah, I guess it was. I guess it was. Wow. Wow. You mean like a decade ago, Democrats were down for cutting spending. And now you've got Chuck Schumer saying, how dare you cut spending? It's amazing, isn't it? Amazing how things have changed and people have changed and people have turned. And here he was, Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, the former Senate majority leader. And he was saying, no, we aren't going to vote for this. We will have no part of this whatsoever. We're not voting for this continuing resolution. Oh, no. Then reality punched him in the face. I don't know if I have the sound of reality punching him in the face. Let me wait. Is this it?
Yes.
No, I don't think that's it. No, it's not.
Oh, God.
That's not. No, I don't think that's Chuck.
Yes.
No. Maybe Nancy Pelosi, but that definitely wasn't Chuck Schumer. I'm pretty sure, or I hope. I'm only hoping that wasn't Chuck Schumer right there. No, this was Chuck Schumer. No, that's also not it. That's not it. You get the boys in the control room to hit the right sound. Be terrific. I don't know. I thought I had it, but he was tough. We're not going to vote for this continuing resolution. We're not going to vote to support Donald Trump and that billionaire Elon Musk. We're not going to help these millionaires and billionaires. Well, that was yesterday for like an hour. And then he comes to the floor, the well of the Senate.
Now, over the last 2 months, the United States has confronted a very bitter truth. The federal government has been taken over by a nihilist. Donald Trump, in 2 months, has taken a blowtorch to our country and wielded chaos like a weapon. Republicans in Congress, meanwhile, have caved to his every whim. The grand old party has devolved into a crowd of Trump sycophants and MAGA radicals who want to burn everything to the ground.
Let's just stop for a moment. He said nihilist. He means nihilist, right? He's basically going full Big Lebowski, and people are going to be losing their Johnson and all this kind of thing. And then, of course, the standard line: Republicans doing whatever it is Trump says to do. Chuck Schumer did everything Joe Biden said to do. Nope, I'm sorry. You're right. Chuck Schumer did anything he wanted to because Joe Biden didn't know what was going on. But there is at no time where the Senate Majority Leader wasn't doing what the president was looking to do and moving forward on policy. And there's certainly no time where the Democrats weren't in lockstep with other Democrats. This is silliness. But this is just the start of his, oh, woe is me, groveling moment.
Look no further than what DOGE is doing. Now Republicans' nihilism has brought us to the brink of disaster. Unless Congress acts, the federal government will shut down tomorrow at midnight. I have said many times there are no winners in a government shutdown, but there are certainly victims, the most vulnerable Americans who rely on federal programs to feed their families, to access medical care, and to stay financially afloat. Communities that depend on government services to function will suffer, and suffer greatly. This week, Democrats offered a sensible way out. Fund the government for another month to give appropriators more time to do their jobs. Republicans rejected this proposal outright.
Good. Republicans didn't need to accept his proposal. He's got no power. He's neutered. And as we have now seen in the past 36 hours, he can't run the Democratic Party. Everything he is about to discuss is nothing more than the tantrum of a child who has lost the battle for who gets to either control the remote control or whether or not he can ride his bike or who gets to decide the movie on movie night. Chuck Schumer lost, and he knows it.
Why did they reject it? Because Donald Trump doesn't want the appropriators to do their job. He wants full control over government spending. He isn't the first president who wants this, but he's the first president to cower his party into submission so that Republican rejection leads us to a decision. That Republican rejection leads us to a decision. And it's not really a decision, it's a Hobson's choice. Either proceed with the bill before us or risk Donald Trump throwing America into the chaos of a shutdown.
Nancy Pelosi did not allow debate on the floor. When she was speaker, she was such a strong speaker, did not allow debate. Not amendments or anything else. No. There was no actual process. There was only her iron fist. So what is Chuck Schumer talking about here? You know, and I know he's not talking about anything that provides any value. Nothing. What does he say at the end of all of this? It is better for the American people, to protect the American people, that we vote for this continuing resolution than have a shutdown. Allow me to share what is going on. He may not know it. Somewhere he might still believe that he is in charge. And it is possible that no other Democrat wants to be in charge, so he gets to de facto be in charge. But Chuck Schumer can't lead these people. Chuck Schumer got beat. And Chuck Schumer got beat badly. And Chuck Schumer embarrassed himself and humiliated the Democratic Party because he did not have all his ducks in a row and he did not have 7 Democrats with him to not cross over, right? They weren't going to cross over. You need 7 votes to get to cloture, to be able to get out of a discussion or get into a debate, get out of the debate, and then get to a vote. He was saying Democrats weren't going to do it. And then Democrats were like, I'll probably do it. And that's when he realized he was beat. He lost. Trump won and he lost. Trump was better at the politics, engaging better with his people, and created a situation that would lead to the Democrats being guilty of a government shutdown. You understand as well as I, that's a huge part of this. They wanted to try and place the blame on Republicans, and there was simply nowhere to run. There was no wiggle room. He's guilty. Clear as day. And realizing that, he had already opened up his mouth and said, we're not going to pass this. And now he had to come back to the floor, tail between his legs. I believe the term that they use is tucked, and said, yeah, I'll vote for it because Trump's so terrible, I have to vote for it. The Democratic Party is in full-on disarray. And not only do you have this world-class capitulation from Chuck Schumer, you have Representative Ocasio-Cortez outraged.
For folks who are concerned about effectiveness in government, this Republican extreme spending bill removes all of the guardrails and all of the accountability measures to ensure that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent. This turns the federal government into a slush fund for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It sacrifices congressional authority, and it is deeply partisan. And so to me, it is almost unthinkable why Senate Democrats would vote to hand the few pieces of leverage that we have away for free when we've been sent here to protect Social Security, protect Medicaid, and protect Medicare.
And that's why I'm running for Senate. Oh, did she not say that? Because that's what she was saying. Anybody who's been at this game for more than an hour, knows that's exactly what she was saying. She was saying Chuck Schumer's weak and I ain't weak. Chuck Schumer caved and I won't cave. Chuck Schumer is a progressive in name only, not me. I'm Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And if you tell me that I should just tattoo a hammer and sickle to my forehead, I'll do it. Vote for me. That's what she was saying. When I tell you that Chuck Schumer has, what was it, Cougar from Top Gun? He lost the edge, had to turn in his wings. Him and Hakeem Jeffries. I've been discussing this now for days. They lost. And they know it. And the rest of the party knows it. And now the fight for leadership has begun. Telling you that's happening. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, guys. Good to be with you. Tony Katz today. Happy to see everybody in the chat room. Happy to see everybody a part of the show there. I love that. I'm not going to address the WHO because I won't give them any kind of credit or love. It's weird. There's a moment where clearly you've kind of like crossed a Rubicon, right? Maybe the names are getting out there more, right? It's having more impact. There is someone who in I guess in my listening area, they happen to be in Indiana. They started a podcast to talk about what I talk about on the radio and how much they hate me. That's their podcast. Their podcast is talking about how much they hate me. Who has that kind of time? And by the way, what do you hate? My boyish good looks? My perfectly coiffed beard? My Flederman Von Riest watch, where I'm a brand ambassador? VonRiest.com? RIESTE. Use promo code CATS and you will get a discount. KATZ. VonRiest.com. And I don't know, but that's what they do. That's their whole thing. I should be flattered, right? Like in the end, I should be flattered. But it's super creepy. It is. It's super creepy, right? It is. It's got to be. All right, let's get back to the radio show, shall we? Turns out that drinking alcohol is just great for you. I mean, terrific.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Now that was definitely Chuck Schumer. Tony Katz. This was published just the other day. Surprisingly good for your cholesterol. Harvard University leading the study. Okay, that never trust Harvard. Included 58,000 adults in Japan who were followed for up to a year utilizing a database of medical records from routine checkups. And what researchers found is that when people switch from being non-drinkers to drinkers, they saw a drop in their LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. The good cholesterol, HDL, went up when they began going gluggity glug glug glug. It beat out improvements typically seen with medication. I'm going to say this again. Bourbon will save your life. I believe, according to the legal people, I'm supposed to say in moderation, check with your doctor. Don't get medical advice from Tony Katz. He's not a doctor, although he does own a stethoscope and he's willing to give the exam. It's just another one of these stories that everything they tell you, they don't know what they're saying. Never tell me the science is settled. Eggs will kill you. Eggs are great. Coffee is the enemy. Coffee's fantastic. Drinking will destroy your life. Drinking will make your heart go boom, boom, boom for another 5 to 72 years. Enjoy, kids. By the way, that was the heartbeat. That was my impression right there. Wasn't bad. Wasn't great. Wasn't bad. You couldn't do better. Talk to me like that. People don't know. Listen to your doctor. Listen to yourself. Do the best you can. You know when you're overdoing. If you don't, well, that's the sign of a problem. But bourbon good. By the way, my show, Eat, Drink, Smoke, eatdrinksmoke.com. Check it out. I am not a doctor. I can't recommend it. My brother is the good Dr. Katz. He could recommend. People in the chat room like, your brother's a doctor. Call your brother. And honestly, what are you, my mom? Call your brother. I'll call him when I'm good and ready. Good and ready. All right, let me get rid of that. I've got some audio to get to. I've got that. I've got that. I've got this. All right. Good enough. I like it. And now I'm going to try and get some things done. You've got questions. I've got answers. Absolutely. The fastest land animal, that would be a giraffe, Landon. No, sure. Happy to help. Fastest land animal, giraffe. Also looks best in hats. Looks best in hats. Looks best. Never mind. Well, of course, a top hat. You can wear a giraffe could get away with a Kangol as well. No, giraffe and a fedora is just damn ridiculous. How dare you? I've never seen anybody sound so silly. I have got a ton of audio to get to. It is the Friday audio dump. You know what we're gonna need? You know what we're gonna need, Sarah? We're gonna do this on Fridays. Let's do this. Every bit of audio we collected off throughout the week that we don't get to, let's save it for Fridays. It's the Friday audio dump. And we're gonna need like a sounder. So you could do that, Sarah, or Landon, producer Landon, you can make one. We're gonna, you know what? You both make one. We'll decide which one is best. The winner we get to use. The loser, shot dead. No, we can't do that. Wow. I don't even know if I want to live in this country if the loser can't be shot dead. You're going to live in Ireland with Rosie, Landon? Well, that's a penalty. Loser has to live in Ireland with Rosie. Oh, I'd rather get shot. That is something. Can it be called something other than dump? Sounds like you're doing nefarious things in the bathroom. Wow, man. That's just, you really had to go there. You really had to go to the lowest common denominator. No, dump does sound like duty, so it's absolutely accurate. I did say it, didn't I? I don't know. I guess we can call it whatever you want. I have not had any bourbon today. No, I don't. I have had a sip before during the show, but I really, I don't want that. Like I don't drink the evening before a show really or anything else. Like I don't do any of that kind of stuff. And I'm not a drinker, which is super strange. You can bring the radio up. I am not a drinker. I don't think people know that about me at all. In the chat room, in the live stream, Jennifer asked me, have you had a bunch of bourbon? And so you guys know I do Eat, Drink, Smoke, eatdrinksmokeshow.com. You know that I love the art, right? I love the creation. It's why I do the stuff with the watches and the people over at Flederman Von Riest, vonriest.com. It's why I do the stuff with the bourbon and getting ready to do some more, by the way, some more bourbon coming out. I'm getting ready to pull the trigger on my own cigar. but I'm not a drinker. I never have been. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything going on at TonyKatz.com. I've been drunk once in my life during like a weird snowstorm at a friend's apartment in New Jersey. Myself and my wife, him and his wife, please settle down. And I got a little bit loopy on white wine. Like, that's my story. I know. The masculinity just oozes out of the microphone. I just don't do it. I'm not interested. Part of the issue, and I swear to you, this is true. I have seen many a person get drunk, get blotto, and it seems like a lot of work. Getting drunk seems like it's really painful and there's effort. And I'm like, I don't know. No, I'm busy. I don't want that. I like to sip. I like to see what is being thought about by a distiller, by a company, and what it is they're trying to create, and then I'm fine. And I leave drinks behind. I leave full drinks behind. And I've been with people like, I don't know how this is possible. I don't know what you're doing. You spent $17 on the drink. Yeah, I wanted to try the drink, and now I'm done. I don't have any other part of it. Everyone's got their thing, right? I have other issues. just not that one. I also have a tremendous amount of audio to get to. So many things that I did not get to that we have decided to come up with a new part of the program. And this is the Friday audio dump. And then I was told you can't call it dump, Tony. You can't call it. It's too creepy. So I may have to come up with another name. Neither here nor there. First things first, Greenland.
What is your vision for the potential annexation of Greenland and getting the potential?
Yeah, well, I think it'll happen. And I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful. And we'll be talking to you. It's a very appropriate, really a very appropriate question.
There's an issue in the high north, so the Arctic. So what you did, so when it comes to Greenland, yes or not joining the US, I would leave that outside for me, this discussion, because I don't want to drag NATO in that. But when it comes to the high north and the Arctic, you are totally right. The Chinese are now using these routes. We know that the Russians are rearming. We know we have a lack of icebreakers. So the fact that the outside Russia, there are 7 Arctic countries working together on this under US leadership is very important to make sure that that's.
So even the guy who heads up NATO is like, oh yeah, having some control of Greenland or having some access to Greenland, that makes perfect sense. We're not going to get into, buying Greenland or how we don't get involved in that, but of course it matters. Well, of course it matters. They all mocked, they all laughed. Oh, Trump and Greenland, how ridiculous. It's because these people cannot think their way out of a paper bag. They've got nothing to offer because they have no thoughts, right? Is the Trump quote, well, you have to think, you might as well think big, right? There's that line. They also can't allow themselves to think something is a good idea if somebody else came up with it. If a Democrat came up with it, it's the greatest thing that ever happened. And if they came up with it on a Tuesday, every Democrat would be in agreement on Wednesday. That's how fast the mind virus Borg mentality collective thing works. If a Republican came up with it, they refuse. How do I know this? Donald Trump celebrated a 13-year-old who beat cancer, and Democrats couldn't applaud. That's how you know what I'm saying is accurate. Then there is the president of the American Federation of Government Employees.
What do you say to those who argue that this is the way, then the government's too big, it's too bloated, our deficit and our national debt are just too huge. This needs to happen. It will make the government more efficient and it will identify jobs that are inessential.
Well, first of all, I think that's misinformation. And this administration is very good at putting out false information. The government today is the same size it was in the 70s. Okay. The population has exploded, but the amount of federal workers has not. So that's just a false information about it being too big. It's the same size as it was in the 70s.
I'm going to talk more about this, but that's progressive math right there. It's the same size, so it's fine. Then there is Secretary Lutnick, who's they have put the Commerce Secretary on every television network they can, and his job, very obviously, is throw punches.
Let's just take a step back and let's go over the big picture. So Donald Trump has said there are 5 big industries that he wants to take care of: steel, aluminum, and copper, automobiles, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, and lumber. And those 5 are really important to us for our national security, right? You need steel and aluminum. So when we put a steel and aluminum tariff, we need to teach the world, just let us rebuild. America needs to be in charge. Let us rebuild our steel and aluminum domestic production. And when we do that, tariffing our American whiskey, I mean, why is that credible? It seems illogical. So Donald Trump is just reminding the European Union who's in charge. Who do they run their big budget deficits with? Their trade deficits. They trade with us huge amounts. We buy their stuff all day, every day, and they need to respect Donald Trump, and he's going to teach them how to do that.
I said, was it earlier this week? I want credit where it's due, dang it. I said earlier this week that Lutnick is going to be the fall guy. That when one of these things becomes a problem, Lutnick is going to be the guy who takes the fall. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. Holy cow. He is a treat. We need to be in charge, and all these other people got to get punched in the face so they're more respectful. Then there's this. We were talking about Chuck Schumer earlier and how Chuck Schumer caved and how Chuck Schumer has fallen apart and how Chuck Schumer is no longer leading. He's not. He can't lead this Democratic Party. And there are already people, the buzzards are circling because there's a carcass there, like one of those whales on the beach, just getting in its last breath and saying, ooh, the sand feels good. Chuck Schumer on MSNBC, after caving and capitulating and admitting that he has to vote now for this continuing resolution, he had no fight in him. He didn't have the party on his side. He got outmaneuvered. That's the way this went. Oh, my.
We are going to conflict with them on everything, on the tax cuts for the billionaires. They've become a plutocracy, an oligarchy. On Medicaid, we have plans to conflict them with all of that. If the shutdown occurred, we wouldn't be able to do that because they would fill up both the Senate and the discussion on whether we should cut this and not cut that, of things that they want to cut. So to have the conflict on the best ground we have, summed up in a sentence, that they're making the middle class pay for tax cuts for billionaires, it's much, much better not to be in the middle of a shutdown, which to divert people from the number one issue we have against these bastards, these people, which is not only all these cuts, but they're ruining democracy. And one other thing on a shutdown. On a shutdown, the courts could close. Or at least be totally disabled. And the courts are one of the best ways we've had to go after these guys.
There are two things here. First of all, that's what he thinks of Republicans. Nope, that's what he thinks of you. When he's calling Republicans names, he's calling you names. But the best is we couldn't afford to shut down the courts because we used the courts to go after these guys. You got to love it when they just admit it, right? I mean, that is just precious. That's just some of the Friday audio dump. All right, we're going to come up with a better name. Meantime, people are tweeting from the dead. It's a very strange story. And about those people who stormed Trump Tower, they stormed. It wasn't mostly peaceful. That's all coming up. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. All I know is Sarah already came up with a. Oh, you did it as a movie, Sarah? Sarah already came up with a sounder for the Friday audio dump. That's how quick people are like. Why does Sarah Smith work with you? This is why. This is why. Let's see what Sarah came up with for the Friday audio dump, what she is referring to as an audio roundup. Oh, you're so dainty, Sarah. That's what you are. You're so ladylike. Said no one ever. All right, let this thing upload. I'll tell you what she's got right there. Come on, finish. It's processing. It says. All right. How big is this file? Good Lord. Sarah, what have you done here? I can't stare at it anymore. I do have so much more. The Raul Grijalva story, who congressman just passed away. 2 Democrats have passed away in the past week. And then who is storming the castle? I've got that as well. Oh, that has taken forever, Sarah. That's not your fault. It's just the upload to StreamYard. It's taking a long time. All right, let's see what you got. I like the graphic. Song's a little, I don't know. It's kind of cute. But you know what it needs? It needs a voiceover. You want to do a voiceover? And now, Tony's audio roundup. Yeah, if you would. Landon's already heading to Ireland. He knows he lost. He knows that he lost the whole game. All right, let's see. Where do I have this? I had something I want to get to. Oh, I've got that. And okay, here it is. There we are. How much time? All right, very, very good. Let me get this all out. Come on. There it is. All right, just about back. Glad you guys are here. So everything is going well with the stream. We're going to keep doing it. And we're not going to be satisfied until 50 million people are watching every hour. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's got, but tell your friends. Tell your friends. It is the most enjoyable show in all of America. It's happening right here. It's happening right here and right now. and then tell your local radio station you want it. You want to be a part of that, and then you want to have it on your station, and then don't forget that April 17th, Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. We're going to drink bourbon, smoke cigars, talk about the first 100 days, compare it to the other first 100 days in history, see the insane progressive leftist reaction. We're going to laugh our heads off. We're going to learn. We're going to enjoy. Presented by laserpmc.com. Learn how to be a better marksman with laserpmc.com. They do the whole laser shooting thing, and they can come to you with a mobile thing. It's super terrific. And the good people at Flederman Von Reist, my watch people. Look at it. Look at it. Look how beautiful. Flederman Von Reist, RIESTE, vonreist.com. Use promo code CATS and get your discount on your Flederman Von Reist made in Indiana watch right there. Let's get back to the show. Pi Day, March 14th, 3.14. I'm going to let other people do the whole thing. But if it means you can get a discount on pizza or on pie, well, then good. Bravo. Good job, America. If we could celebrate, the basic foundational building blocks of the universe and also get a discount on pecan pie, I'm fine with that. Or banana cream, which I would do both. Not much of a fruit pie guy. Listen, I'm not here to judge. I'm not telling you not to. Just for me, banana cream, pecan, or pecan. I don't care what you call it. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I do call it a storming, because that's what happened when you saw people entering Trump Tower, and they're really anti-Israel, Jew-hating protesters, and they want to support this Hamas supporter, Mahmoud Khalil. It's not a free speech argument. It's not a free speech argument. Mahmoud Khalil has supported Hamas, a known terrorist organization, a designated terrorist organization, worked to intimidate students on the campus of Columbia University. He's a lawful permanent resident. He can be deported. We already have the precedent here. The people who are making this a free speech argument are doing so knowing that they're lying. I said so about Bernie Sanders. I say so about anybody who wants to say this is a free speech conversation. It isn't. It is about the action, as William Jacobson, Cornell law professor, explained. And I believe that is a perfectly accurate way to discuss it. It is the actions of this low-life scumbag. It is not a free speech conversation. And he's not an American citizen, and he is not entitled to everything an American citizen is entitled to. So people stormed into Trump Tower, and they're sitting there, and they're screaming and yelling and protesting. And now you have Democrats who want to argue, whoa. Nobody stormed.
That's what I want to remind you both that it was Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. When January 6th happened this year, what happened? It wasn't Democrats storming the Capitol. Actually, guess what? No one stormed the Capitol this January 6th. And so it was.
You look at the video in New York City today, the people who took over Trump Tower, the people screaming at folks
people
on the
were
streets.
protesting.
Who are those
People
folks?
were protesting. They were
In
not
Trump
storming.
Tower?
They were not storming.
They stormed Trump Tower.
They
Yes,
were not
they did.
storming.
They were inside of it.
They were not storming the. They were not
lobby of
trying
Trump
to.
Tower is
They were not trying to hurt a member of Congress.
Come on.
There were
I'm
thousands
not
of people
defending
who were
any mob, just
prosecuted
pointing
for
out that they're
January 6th. Scott, you may have
screaming at
forgotten,
people.
but you know what? You should go read your old op-ed talking about
You know what?
how the president caused an insurrection.
Can't handle the fact that people were wrong for entering Trump Tower. These people are wrong. But this is CNN. These are the people who could see a building burning behind them and say that the protest is mostly peaceful. Can't handle it. Everything is a January 6th conversation. Scott Jennings should get hazard pay. And I've kind of figured out his methodology. His methodology is not to try and get the other person to agree with him. Now, I believe in this methodology, and I utilize this in my own life. But he's not trying to play and engage a fight for the camera. Rather, he utilizes the camera to agree with him. And when he gives one of those side looks to the camera, it's like, he's having the conversation with this lefty, and he looks at the camera and he goes, he's got one of those, and he puts up his hand, and he just tilts his head. It's like, you see this, right? You see these people. That is the win. That's what is so good, is that he understands his job as the exposing, and now everybody's they're in on the gag that these people are just like, all his only job is just to be honest for like a 30-second block and then let them lose their minds over the honesty. And then he turns to you, he's like, huh? That's the whole Scott Jennings philosophy. Huh? So good. So good. I hope they arrest those people, and if any of them are non-citizens, deport them. This is Tony Katz Today. You, my people, are a treat. You are fantastic, and you are wonderful. I could use some pie. I gotta go. I want you to have a wonderful weekend. I want you to have a great time. I want you to head over to TonyKatz.com and check out what we're doing and be supportive over there. And then come on out and join us. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. We are a month away. Now is the time. VIP, I think, is sold out. VIP is sold out. But we have tickets available. Plenty of bourbon. Going to be fantastic. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. April 17th. Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. So come to that. Come to that if you would. I would love to see you. It's going to be such a good time. Kokomo, Indiana, the venue at Brookstone. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a sip. We're going to talk. We're going to share. We're going to laugh. We're going to fall in love. Some of you may get pregnant. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons, presented by Laser PMC, Precision Marksmanship. They're very, very cool people, and they will be set up. And then, of course, Flederman von Riest. This right here is the Hanoverian in the very special color, cornflower blue. You can get it in a series of colors, including the Harborside turquoise, which is super neat. They also have the Munchener and the Einheits, some beautiful watches made right here in Indiana. Von Riest, Rieste, vonrieste.com, and laserpmc.com. Have them come out to your office. You come out to where they are, and you're going to learn how to shoot better, and you're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. Great sponsors there for Trump and American Reset in 3 bourbons. It's going to be amazing. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. I hope to see you there, and I will catch you all on Monday. Appreciate it, guys. You take care.